Hello and a very good day everyone. So today we will learn on how we can automate in Power BI. So for example, you are working as a budget analyst where you prepare variance analyst report on monthly basis. So we do have January, February and March. So let us look at this January file. So in this January file, we do have the date, the cost center, the respective department, respective expenses, and also the budget allocated and also the actual expenses. So normally if you work as a variance analyst executive or budget executive, you will perform variance analysis on monthly basis where you'll compare the budget expenses and also the actual expenses. So now in this particular case, we do have the date, we do have the department, and then we do have the respective budget expenses and also the respective actual amount expenses. So now if they say I want to turn this particular data into a interesting visualization, so how I can do it? So first and foremost, I go to my Power BI desktop. So in this Power BI desktop, I have two icons, Excel workbook. So maybe I can just even click this. So once I click this Excel workbook, they will ask me which particular Excel file that I want to import to the Power BI. So let me choose the first file, variance report 1st January 001 January 2023. So I click open. So once I click open, it will take some time to load, and then you will notice that a big box will appear. So in this particular big box, they will ask me which tab that I want to select. So I want to select the tab or the sheet name variance. So this is the data, and then over here you will see the preview of the database whereby we have the date, cost center and whatnot. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to click on transform data. Okay, basically I want to do some transformation. Okay, so as you can refer here, now we will go to Power Query Editor. It is in the Power Query Editor is where I'll do some massaging. So as you can see over here, we do have the database, cost center, department, and up to the budget expenses year to date and the actual expenses year to date. So the thing right now is what I'm going to do is I want to add column. As you can refer over here, there's a ribbon called add column. I want to add column and I want to go to the icon called date and I want to choose name of month. Why I want to choose name of month? Because if you look over here, we do have 31st January. So what I want to do is I want a particular column that has the name January. So I'm going to choose month and name of month. So once I click name of month, you will notice on your right hand side, you have a dedicated column for January. So I'm going to select this, right click, and then I go to move. So I'll just put it to the beginning. So as you can see in the beginning, the first column is the month name, the second column is the date name. Okay, why do I have the month name? Because I want to create a title. So I'll just go to home and I click close and apply. So just let me click apply changes. So once I click apply changes, it will be loaded to the model. So after being loaded, as you can see, the data has been loaded on the data section. So now this is our data over here. So what I'm going to do now is I want to create some visualization. So first thing is I create the card. So I click card over here. Okay, so this card over here, what I'm going to do is I want to put a title first. So before that, I click new measure. Okay, so let me click a new measure over here. So once I click measure, you will notice a formula bar will appear over here. So I'm going to put here title and I want to put as variance analysis as of roster fee and selected value. Okay, so this is a measure called selected value and I want to put it as month name and otherwise roster fee close bracket and then I put here 2023. Okay, and I press enter. So this is a measure called selected value. So I'm going to have a title variance analysis as of the month name and followed by the year. So I'm going to select this card over here and I want to take the title. So once I take the title, you will notice that our title is variance analysis as of January 2023. But of course we do have this title over here, so I just want to remove this, double click, spacebar, enter. So now we have a proper title which is variance analysis as of January 2023. So basically, let me change the color. So maybe I'll put white color. Okay, the font is maybe white color, and then general effects, I put this maybe dark blue, something like this. So there you go. So variance analysis as of January 2023. Next, what I want to do is I want to create a drop down list. So what I'm going to do is I'll just click on the slicer. So now we do have a slicer over here, and I want to click department. So let me click department. So here we have a department, and then I go to the format your visual, and under format your visual, under visual I click slicer settings. Instead of vertical list, I choose drop down. Okay, so now you see this, but the problem is, if you notice over here, it is very small size. So what I'm going to do is I want to make it bigger. So the slicer header, I make it as size 20, and then the values I want to make it as size 25. Okay, so now this is big enough, and what I'm going to do is I'll just put it over here. So here we have a title, here we have a drop down list, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste. So now we have two drop down lists, and this one, instead of department, since we have department slicer over here, I just want to put one for expenses category. So now I can choose expenses category, and over here I can choose the respective department. Okay, what next is I want to calculate I want to show a card where it shows the budget expenses and also the actual expenses. So let me show a card again. So now we do have this card over here, and let me adjust the size. Okay, so let me take on budget allocated year to date. So now we have sum of budget allocated. So maybe let me put the name budget expenses year to date. Okay, budget expenses year to date. So now the name has changed, and then instead of 15 million, what I want to do is I'll just go to the call out value, and if you see here display units, instead of doing 15 million, so I want it to put as thousands. So now if you see 14771k, but the problem is sometimes when we present our data, especially accounting data, we prefer to have the thousand comma separator. So how to have the thousand comma separator? We go to the model view. As you can see over here, we go to the model view, and then under the model view, we click on budget allocated year to date, and under the properties pane, we scroll down, we choose thousand separator. So we click yes. So automatically you will notice it will take some time to load, and then when you go to your report view, we do have a comma. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I just want to change the color. So maybe let me choose blue color as well. So this thing I'll just put this blue color. Okay, so let me go to the visual. Okay, call out value, category label, I put this as black color. Okay, so yeah, and call out value, this is also black color, and let me choose bold. Okay, there you go. So this one I'm going to copy this and paste. So now you have one for budget, and I want to have another one for actual expenses. So I remove this, and I take the actual amount. So now this is the value. As usual, I need to rename this. So I double click. So I'm going to put here actual expenses year to date. Okay, so we have actual expenses year to date. I also want to have the comma separator. So I go here, actual amount incurred, and click on thousand separator. I just put yes. So it will take some time to load, and then eventually if you go to the report view, you will notice now this is how it looks. So maybe let me change the color. So I go to general, effects, and maybe I put maybe this blue. Okay, so we have this blue over here. So now we have budget expenses, we also have actual expenses. So I also want to know the variance. So what I do is I click new measure. Okay, so this new measure will calculate the measure or the total, the difference between budget and actual. So I'm going to put this as variance, and SUM, the sum of budget minus with sum of actual. Okay, and enter. So now it will have a dedicated measure named variance over here, which calculate the difference between budget and actual. So let me copy this and paste it over here. Okay, so let me adjust accordingly. Okay, so now we have this. Okay, this thing over here. So I'll go to build your visual, remove actual, and tick the variance. So now we have this thing. So let me change the color. I put general, effect, and instead of blue, maybe I'll just choose a light blue. Okay, so this is how it looks. Maybe a different color, maybe. Alright, so just choose this, same color over here. Okay, so now we do have this information. We have the variance analysis, we have the budget expenses, actual expenses, and variance. So what next is I want to create a graph. Okay, so a chart. So this column chart, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this. Okay, and then I want to choose budget allocated year to date, and also actual amount, and also I want by expenses. Okay, so let me extend the list first, make it bigger. Okay, but normally the managers, they don't prefer to see everything. They want to see maybe the top 10 or top 5. So what I'm going to do is under the filters pane, I'm going to select expenses. Okay, here we have basic filtering. So I'm going, instead of basic filtering, I'm going to choose top n, and under maybe I put here top 5. I put the variance, so it's arranged by the variance, and I click apply filter. So automatically you will notice that we have some variance over here. Okay, innovation, security personnel, office supplier. So if just say I click this, I want to know about accounting and finance department. So accounting and finance, we do have some difference over here, but let me adjust the size. Okay, so I go to the format your visual, I go to x-axis, and instead of 9, maybe I put here 20. So now you notice it's bigger, and then let me close this. So I also want to go to y-axis, and I go to the values, and then maybe I put here 50. So now it looks bigger, and then I go to format build your visual over here. So this is expenses. So this one I'm going to put budget expenses year to date. Okay, and over here actual, let me double click this, actual expenses year to date. Okay, so there you go. So now we have budget expenses and actual expenses. Alright, so this is how we can look at our data. So we have the variance analysis report as of January 2023. So we do have the department, we do have the slicer for expenses. So just say I want to know about the legal compliance cost. So when I click legal compliance cost, so this is the performance. So you just say I click on research and development cost, this is the performance. So if just say I clear filter, so this is how it looks like. But if just say I want to know maybe for human resource department, so this is how it looks like. So basically this is how you can play around. And not only that, now what if just say I want to change file. For example, if you look carefully, we do have February, we do have March. So I want to know, just say the next subsequent month, what is the variance analysis as of March. So what I need to do is I click on the arrow of transform data. As you can see over here, click the arrow over here. I go to data source settings. So I click data source settings. So when I click data source settings, so now it shows the file is January, right? So I change source. Okay, I click change source, and then I click the browse. So instead of January, I choose February. I press open, I press OK. So here will change to February, and I press close. So once I place close, you will notice there's a disclaimer over here. So I'm going to click as apply changes. So once I click apply changes, it will take some time to load, and eventually you will notice that now we do have the report as of February. So again I repeat, so I just go to the icon, the ribbon of home, I go to the icon of transform data, I click the arrow, and I go data source settings. So once I click data source settings, so instead of February, so I go to change source, click on the browse. Okay, as you can see here, I click on the browse, and once I click browse, I choose March, I press OK, open, OK, and then automatically will change file. I press close, and then I press apply changes. So once I click apply changes, from February, you will notice that this report will change to March 2023. So basically we can actually change the source, the file, but make sure that your file has the same headers and also the same tab name. If the tab name is variance, make sure the tab name is variance, the same name, same sheet name, and also same column. Okay, so that's the one thing that you need to do. Otherwise, there will be some error in the Power Query and Power BI. Okay, so now we have created the report. So now next question is, can the slicer be operated in more than one pages? So for example, over here I go to page number 2. So I click this, we have a page number 2, and just say I click a table, this table over here, and just say I choose one is by the department, which is the department name. Okay, I click by department, and then I tick it over here. Okay, so we have a department, and I put by variance. Okay, so let me adjust the size accordingly. So let me go to column header, and I put this as 20, and then let me go to the value headers, report row headers, and put here 20. Okay, and then let me go to the values and also put here 20. Okay, so now let me adjust the size accordingly. So now we have this information. So just say I go to page 1, and instead of human resource I click chairman office. So when I click chairman office, in this page it shows the chairman office data. But what if just say I go to page 2? In page 2 you notice that there is no changes. So how to make sure that this slicer over here can be operated in more than one page? So in order to do so, you need to go to view. Under view, there's an icon called sync slicer. You click on sync slicer, and then once you click sync slicer, make sure you click this, you click the particular slicer over here. So this is what, make sure that it is applicable in both page 1 and page 2. And this thing over here, if you can see, it looks like an eye. So this one is visible in page 1. So I don't want it to be visible in page 2. I only want it to be visible in page 1, but I want it to be operated both in page 1 and page 2. Okay, so let me remove this. So now it will be operated in page 1 and page 2. Meaning to say, if just say I click this, I choose accounting and finance. When I click accounting and finance, not only page 1, but also page 2 also will show the accounting finance. But if just say I want to change, okay, instead of accounting and finance, maybe let me choose IT department. So not only in page 1, but also in page 2, it shows IT department. So basically, how to let your slicer be linked or automated in more than one page? You go to view and you click sync slicer. So basically, once you click the slicer over here, okay, so it will show that this slicer is applicable in page 1 and page 2, and this eye over here, it will tell you that the slicer right now is visible in page 1. So if just say I click here page 2, you will notice that when I go to page 2, the slicer is available over here. So basically what it tells you that now the slicer is visible in page 1 and page 2. But if just say I untick this, so now the slicer is missing. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, so this is how you can create a report of variance analysis on monthly basis. So basically what we learned today is how we can actually transform this database into an exciting visualization.